The vast emptiness of space stretched before the Imperial Scout Fleet's flagship, Starseeker. Admiral Reed stood at the command center, his tall frame casting a shadow across the holographic display of a newly discovered solar system. His 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the third planet from the local star. "Another primitive world," he muttered, waving one of his upper arms dismissively. "Just like the last 100 we found." Intelligence Officer Smith, a veteran of countless first contact missions, stepped forward. Unlike the Admiral's casual dismissal, her expression showed concern as she analyzed the data streaming across her screens. "Sir, I believe we should exercise caution with this one," she said, her voice steady but serious. "The readings are unusual." Admiral Reed turned to face her, annoyance clear in his expression. "Unusual how, Officer Smith? They haven't even established colonies beyond their moon. Their ships still use chemical propulsion." Smith pulled up a series of images on the main display. "Look at their warfare patterns, sir. In just the last 100 years of their history, they've developed from primitive projectile weapons to nuclear capabilities. Their rate of technological advancement is unprecedented." The bridge crew watched as Smith displayed more information. Satellite images showed vast military installations, submarine bases hidden beneath oceans, and aircraft carriers that crossed their seas. While their space technology seemed basic, their military infrastructure was extensive. "They call themselves humans," Smith continued. "And they've done something I'd never seen before. They've had multiple global conflicts but emerged stronger each time. Most species destroy themselves in such wars, but these humans, they adapt and improve." Admiral Reed laughed, the sound echoing across the bridge. "Are you suggesting that this backwater planet could pose a threat to the Galactic Empire? We who have ruled the stars for 10,000 years." Before Smith could respond, the sensor officer called out, "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures. They've spotted us despite our cloaking technology." The main screen showed multiple ground-based installations activating, tracking systems locking onto their position with surprising accuracy. Earth's primitive satellites had suddenly come alive, revealing hidden military capabilities. "Impossible," Reed whispered, his confidence wavering for the first time. "Their technology shouldn't be able to detect us." Smith quickly accessed more data. "Sir, they're not using standard detection methods. They've developed something new, something our database doesn't recognize." Earth's response to their presence was swift and organized. Within hours, military forces worldwide had mobilized. Space defense platforms, previously appearing dormant, revealed advanced weapon systems. The humans had hidden their true capabilities well. "They're hailing us," the communications officer announced. Admiral Reed straightened his uniform. "Standard protocol, then. Prepare the colonization terms. These humans will learn their place in the Empire, just like all others before them." But Smith stepped forward once more. "Admiral, with respect, I must formally register my concern. Everything about their behavior suggests they're not like other species we've encountered. They're prepared for us. They've been preparing for something like this for generations." "Your concern is noted, Officer Smith," Reed replied coldly. "But the Empire has never failed to subjugate a pre-FTL civilization. Prepare the diplomatic vessel for first contact." As the orders went out, Smith stayed at her station, continuing to analyze the flood of data about Earth. She noticed something that made her blood run cold. Hidden in human entertainment media were countless scenarios of alien invasion. These humans hadn't just prepared militarily. They had been imagining and planning for this moment for centuries. The diplomatic vessel launched, its sleek form heading toward Earth. As Smith watched it go, she couldn't shake the feeling that the Empire was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating primitive species. The humans might use simple chemical rockets to reach their moon, but their weapons told a different story. "May the stars have mercy on us," she whispered, "if we make enemies of these humans." The Empire's diplomatic vessel, Peacebearer, descended through Earth's atmosphere, flanked by 2 human fighter jets. Inside the ship, Ambassador White adjusted his ceremonial robes, practiced in the art of subjugating primitive species. These humans show unexpected discipline. His assistant noted, watching the escort fighters maintain perfect formation. Their aircraft are surprisingly advanced. White dismissed the observation with a wave of his hand. All species show initial promise. They'll bend like the others once they see our true power. The ship landed at a designated location, a massive military base in a region humans called Nevada. A delegation of world leaders awaited them, standing proud and unafraid. This wasn't the usual trembling reception the Empire received on primitive worlds. As White stepped out onto Earth's soil, he noticed something odd. The humans wore expressions not of awe, but of careful assessment. Their honor guard carried weapons that seemed primitive but emanated strange energy readings. General Thompson stepped forward from the human delegation. "Welcome to Earth," he said firmly. "We trust you come in peace." White activated his universal translator. "We bring the greetings of the Galactic Empire," he announced with practiced grandeur. "Your world has been chosen to join our glorious civilization." The humans exchanged glances. Thompson's expression didn't change. "Chosen?" he asked. "Or targeted?" White faltered for a moment. Primitive species didn't usually question the Empire's intentions. He recovered quickly, producing a holographic document. "These are our standard terms of planetary integration. You will submit to Imperial rule, provide resources and troops, and receive our protection in return." To his surprise, Thompson pulled out a tablet. "And these are our terms," he replied. "Earth is open to peaceful relations, trade, and cultural exchange. But we remain independent." White's translator almost glitched from his burst of laughter. "You misunderstand. These aren't negotiations. The Empire doesn't bargain with pre-FTL civilizations." "Then you misunderstand," Thompson countered. "Earth doesn't submit to threats, veiled or otherwise." Suddenly, alarms blared from the peace-bearer. White's communication device crackled to life. "Ambassador, multiple human vessels have just appeared in orbit. They were cloaked, sir. Cloaking technology we couldn't detect." White's 4 eyes widened. "Impossible. Your species shouldn't have." "Shouldn't have what?" Thompson interrupted. "Space stations, orbital defenses. Did you think those chemical rockets were all we had?" The human delegates remained calm as more alarms sounded. Their composure suggested this was all planned, orchestrated to reveal their true capabilities at the perfect moment. "You have 1 hour to remove your fleet from our solar system," Thompson stated. "Earth is willing to join the galactic community, but as equals, not subjects." White's pride overtook his judgment. "You dare threaten the Empire? We've conquered galaxies. Your pitiful defenses." A deafening boom interrupted him. Everyone looked up as a human aircraft streaked across the sky, breaking the sound barrier. But it wasn't just showing off. In that brief flyby, it had scanned the peace-bearer's entire structure, analyzing its weaknesses. "That wasn't a threat," Thompson said calmly. "Just a statement of fact. 1 hour, Ambassador. Then we'll show you why Earth has never been successfully invaded." White hurried back to his ship, his ceremonial robes forgotten in his haste. As they lifted off, his assistant spoke softly. "Sir, orbital scans show their hidden military installations. They're extensive. And there's something else. Their weapons, they're not just projectiles. They've developed energy weapons in secret, different from anything in our database." The peace-bearer rushed back to the Imperial fleet. Behind them, Earth's orbital platforms emerged from their cloaking fields, their weapon systems tracking every Imperial ship. In the flagship's command center, Admiral Reed received White's report with growing anger. "They reject our terms. Then they'll learn why we're called an empire, not a democracy." Officer Smith watched the tactical display, noting how the humans had positioned their forces. They hadn't just prepared for this day. They'd been eagerly awaiting it. The first shots were fired 3 minutes later. The war had begun, and the Empire was about to learn why humans wrote so many stories about defeating alien invaders. Admiral Reed watched in disbelief as the holographic display showed another Imperial cruiser exploding. The humans weren't fighting like any species he'd encountered in his 300 years of service. How did they get behind our lines? He demanded, slamming his fist on the command console. Our formations are perfect. Officer Smith studied the battle data with growing concern. Sir, they're using the debris from destroyed ships as cover. Their smaller vessels are hiding in our wreckage. The humans had turned space combat into something the Empire had never seen before. While Imperial ships moved in organized patterns, human vessels darted through debris fields, using broken hulls as shields, emerging from unexpected angles to strike and vanish again. Sir, a sensor operator called out, we're detecting multiple new signatures. They're launching from Earth's dark side. Reed's screen filled with hundreds of small craft, barely larger than fighter pods. Each one carried a single devastating weapon, something the Empire scientists still couldn't understand. The humans called them EMP torpedoes. 3 Imperial destroyers died before they could raise their shields. Their mighty engines went dark, life support systems failed, and they drifted helplessly in space. The humans didn't destroy these ships, they captured them. This is impossible, Reed muttered, watching his perfect battle plan fall apart. They're supposed to be primitive. They're supposed to be easy. Smith brought up new tactical data. Sir, we've lost contact with Battle Group 7. The humans, they're using our own captured ships against us. They learned to pilot them in hours. Earth's main fleet emerged from behind their moon, but it wasn't the crude chemical rockets the Empire had expected. Humanity had hidden their true ships, vessels that combined their primitive but robust engineering with startling innovations. Their hulls were thick, their weapons simple but deadly effective. They're hailing us, the communications officer announced. General Thompson's face appeared on the main screen. He looked calm, almost pleased. Admiral Reed, I suggest you withdraw what's left of your fleet. We've captured enough of your ships to understand your capabilities. And frankly, we're not impressed. Reed's pride flared. You primitive apes. You think a few lucky victories mean. Look at your tactical display, Admiral, Thompson interrupted. Really look at it. Reed did, and felt his blood run cold. The humans hadn't just been fighting. They'd been hurting the Imperial fleet. Every retreat, every evasive maneuver had pushed his ships exactly where the humans wanted them. Now, Thompson continued, we've got ships behind you, beside you, and below you. Your fancy shields don't stop our EMP weapons. Your eye-targeting systems can't predict our illogical attack patterns. And best of all, he smiled, we're learning to use your technology faster than you can replace your losses. Smith spoke softly from her station. Sir, he's right. Our casualties are at 40%. Theirs are only at 15%. And they're adapting. Each wave of attacks shows improvement, new tactics, better coordination. Reed had one card left to play. We'll bombard your cities. We'll turn your oceans to steam. We'll. Try it, Thompson said calmly. Those weapons you're charging up. We've already figured out their firing signatures. Target Earth, and you'll learn why we spread our civilization across an entire planet instead of building it all in one place. As if to demonstrate, a swarm of human vessels emerged from Earth's atmosphere. They'd held back half their fleet, waiting for exactly this moment. The Empire's tactic of planetary bombardment was useless against a species that expected it. Reed looked at his tactical display again. His perfect fleet, the pride of the Empire, was in shambles. And the humans weren't just winning. They were learning, adapting, getting stronger with each passing moment. For the first time in Imperial history, a fleet commander gave the order to retreat not for tactical reasons, but out of genuine fear. As the Imperial ships flowed into hyperspace, Smith watched the human vessels return to their hidden bases. They let us escape, she realized. They wanted us to run. to tell the others what happened here. The captured Imperial destroyer floated in Earth's orbit, surrounded by research vessels. Inside its massive engine room, human engineers worked tirelessly, their minds racing with possibilities as they studied the alien technology. "Look at this," Chief Engineer Baker said, pointing to a holographic display. "Their faster-than-light drive isn't just about speed. It's about bending space itself." His team had spent 3 weeks studying the captured ships. What the Empire had built over thousands of years, humans were learning to master in months. Their progress wasn't just fast, it was unprecedented. In a secure facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Project Phoenix was taking shape. Dr. Wilson stood before a wall of screens, watching as human technology merged with Imperial designs. They weren't just copying the alien tech, they were improving it. "The Empire builds everything to last forever," she explained to the visiting General Thompson. "But we build things to be replaced, upgraded, modified. That's our advantage." On the main screen, a new type of ship took form. It had the Empire's sleek design but incorporated human innovations, redundant systems, modular components, and most importantly, the ability to be repaired by crews with simple tools. "They think technology should be perfect," Wilson continued. "We know it never is. That's why we always plan for failure, for repairs, for improvements." In orbit, the first human-built hybrid ships were ready for their test flights. They looked crude compared to Imperial vessels, but appearances were deceiving. Inside their thick hulls lay innovations that would shock the Empire. "Launch sequence initiated," the control room announced. Hybrid ship Liberty beginning its first flight. The Liberty rose from its dock, its engines glowing with a combination of human and Imperial technology. It moved differently than other ships, more agile, more responsive. The Empire built their ships to follow strict patterns. Humans built theirs to break them. Meanwhile, at the Lunar Defense Base, Intelligence Officer Jones studied the data stolen from Imperial computers. "Their entire strategy is based on overwhelming force," he reported to the War Council. "They've never needed to think differently because they've never failed before." The council chamber displayed a galactic map showing Imperial territory. Their empire was vast but rigid, like a crystal, beautiful, powerful, and vulnerable to the right kind of shock. "They'll come back," Thompson said, studying the map. "But this time, we'll be ready with more than just defenses." In weapon labs across Earth, scientists combined Imperial energy weapons with human guidance systems. The Empire's weapons were powerful but predictable. Human weapons might look primitive, but they worked in ways the Empire couldn't anticipate. "Test-firing hybrid cannon," announced the weapons range controller. The new weapon combined Imperial power with human unpredictability. Instead of firing in straight lines like Imperial weapons, these could curve, split, and change direction mid-flight. Back in orbit, the Liberty completed its test flight. Its success proved what humanity had always believed. They could take any technology and make it their own, make it better, make it work in ways its creators never imagined. "Sir," a junior officer reported to Thompson, "long-range sensors detect Imperial ships gathering at their border. They're preparing for another attack." Thompson smiled. Unlike their first encounter, this time Earth was ready. Their hybrid ships waited in hidden docks. Their improved weapons were installed on every vessel. Most importantly, they had something the Empire couldn't understand: the ability to think differently. "Let them come," Thompson said, watching as more hybrid ships launched from Earth's shipyards. "This time, we're not just defending. This time, we're taking the fight to them." In her lab, Dr. Wilson put the finishing touches on Project Phoenix's crown jewel, a hybrid drive system that could outmaneuver anything in the Imperial fleet. The Empire had shown humanity the stars. Now humanity would show the Empire how to reach them in ways they'd never imagined. "Send word to all commands," Thompson ordered. "Operation Prometheus begins at dawn. It's time to show the Empire why humans don't just adapt. We evolve." High Commander Stone stood before the Imperial War Council, his face dark with anger. The holographic displays around him showed the largest fleet ever assembled in Imperial history. 10,000 warships gathered for one purpose. "We will crush these humans," he declared, "and remind the galaxy why we have ruled for 10,000 years." The massive Imperial armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Their ships blocked out the stars, creating an artificial night. This was no simple invasion force. It was the Empire's full might. On Earth, General Thompson watched the tactical display with calm eyes. "Right on schedule," he said. "They brought exactly what we expected. Everything they have." The Empire's initial barrage lit up space like a new sun. Thousands of energy weapons fired simultaneously, enough firepower to crack a planet. But Earth wasn't there anymore. At least, not where their sensors showed it. "Holographic projection systems working perfectly," reported the Defense Command Center. Their entire first strike hit nothing but empty space. The humans had learned from their captured Imperial technology. They didn't just understand it. They had turned the Empire's own sensor systems against them. Every Imperial ship was seeing what the humans wanted them to see. Stone's fury grew as reports came in. "How are they doing this? Find them. Find their real position." But the humans had another surprise waiting. From the dark side of Mars, a fleet of hybrid ships emerged. They moved like no ships the Empire had ever seen, combining Imperial speed with human unpredictability. "Remember," Thompson broadcasted to Earth's forces, "we don't need to destroy them all. We just need to make them fear us." The battle that followed would be studied for centuries. Imperial ships, built for grand fleet actions, found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to follow any rules of space combat. Human vessels darted between their formations, striking from impossible angles, using tactics that seemed insane until they worked. "They're not just copying our technology," an Imperial admiral reported in panic. "They're using it in ways we never imagined." The Empire's mighty fleet began to fragment. Their perfect formations broke apart as human ships seemed to appear from nowhere, strike, and vanish again. The Empire had numbers, but the humans had something more valuable: creativity. Stone watched in horror as his fleet's casualties mounted. "How? They were primitive just months ago. This is impossible." On Earth's secret command base beneath the Pacific, Dr. Wilson monitored Project Phoenix's performance. The hybrid ships were proving her theory. Human improvisation combined with Imperial technology was unbeatable. "Their problem is psychological," she explained to her staff. "They can't adapt because they don't believe they need to. They've never failed before." The Empire's losses grew. Their ships were more advanced, their weapons more powerful, but none of that mattered. The humans had turned space itself into their ally, using debris fields, planetary gravity, and even solar radiation in ways the Empire had never considered. "Sir," an Imperial officer reported to Stone, "the crews, they're afraid. They're saying the humans aren't fighting like a civilized species." Stone's response was cut short as another battle group went dark. The humans weren't just winning. They were demoralizing the Empire's finest warriors. In Earth's command center, Thompson watched the Empire's mighty fleet begin to retreat. Not in one organized movement, but in scattered groups, their perfect discipline shattered by fear. "Send the message," Thompson ordered. It was broadcast on all Imperial frequencies. "Remember this day. Remember what happened when you thought humans would be easy prey. We're not finished. We're just getting started." Stone stared at the battlefield wreckage, his pride as shattered as his fleet. The Empire had ruled space unopposed for 10,000 years. But in just a few months, the humans had done what no other species had ever managed. They had made the Empire no fear. The Imperial Palace shook as protesters filled its streets. 10,000 years of unquestioned rule were crumbling. On the palace's main display screen, reports from across the Empire showed the same story. Their economy was collapsing under the weight of the human war. High Commander Stone stood before the Imperial Council, his once proud uniform now worn and tired. The humans. He paused, struggling with words that no Imperial commander had ever spoken before. The humans are inside our territory. 17 systems have fallen in the past month alone. The council chamber erupted in chaos. 17 systems, not just attacked, but captured. The humans weren't just defending anymore. They were expanding. How? Demanded the council leader. How are they moving so fast? Stone activated a holographic display showing a human hybrid ship. They've taken our technology and improved it. Their faster-than-light drives now outperform ours. They can strike anywhere, anytime, and we can't predict where they'll appear next. In human space, General Thompson reviewed the latest battle reports. Earth's strategy was working perfectly. They weren't trying to conquer the Empire. They were breaking it apart from within. Another Imperial client species has requested independence, reported Intelligence Officer Jones. The Arcturians saw our ships defeat the Empire's best fleet. They say if primitive humans could do it, they can too. Thompson nodded. This was always part of the plan. The Empire had ruled through fear and technological superiority. Once humans proved they could beat both, the whole system began to crumble. Dr. Wilson entered the command center with exciting news. Project Phoenix's final phase is ready, she announced. The new hybrid ships can now navigate hyperspace lanes the Empire considers impossible. We can bypass all their defenses. Back in Imperial space, the situation grew worse by the day. Supply lines were broken. Trade routes fell to human raiders. Imperial ships, once proud and unstoppable, now flood at the first sign of human vessels. The humans don't fight fair, complained an Imperial admiral during an emergency session. They use tactics that make no sense. They turn our own ships against us. They communicate with our client species, spreading dangerous ideas about independence. Stone listened to the complaints with growing resignation. The Empire had always won through overwhelming force. But humans had turned that strength into a weakness. They made the Empire commit massive resources, then slipped away, leaving expensive fleets chasing shadows. In Earth's Pacific Command Center, Thompson received a surprising transmission. The Empire's council wanted to negotiate, not just a ceasefire, but full peace talks. They're desperate, Jones analyzed. Their economy can't sustain this war. Half their client species are in open revolt. Their crews are refusing to fight human ships. Thompson studied the message carefully. Send our terms. We'll accept their surrender, but with conditions. The terms were delivered to the Imperial Palace within hours. The Empire would withdraw from human space entirely. A buffer zone would be established between human and Imperial territory. All client species would be given the choice of independence. The Empire would officially acknowledge humans as equals. The Imperial Council raged at the demands. This is outrageous. They shouted, "We are the Empire. We have ruled for 10,000 years. But Stone stood up, his voice cutting through the chaos. We have no choice. The humans, he swallowed hard. The humans have beaten us, not just militarily, but completely. Our own species are rebelling. Our economy is in ruins. Our fleets are demoralized." As if to emphasize his point, another report arrived. 3 more systems had fallen to human forces. Their hybrid ships had appeared from supposedly impossible hyperspace routes, bypassed all defenses, and claimed the systems before the Empire could respond. The council leader looked old and tired as he gave the order. Send the response. We accept their terms. On Earth, celebrations broke out as news of the Empire's surrender spread. But in the command center, Thompson and his team were already planning for the future. They'll try to rebuild, Jones warned. Try to understand how we beat them. Thompson smiled. Let them try. By the time they figure out these tactics, we'll have developed new ones. That's what they never understood about humans. We never stop evolving. The formal surrender ceremony was held in neutral space. The Empire's representatives watched in shock as human ships demonstrated their new capabilities, showing just how far they had come from their primitive beginnings. Stone approached Thompson after the ceremony. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you advance so quickly?" Thompson's answer was simple: "Because we expected to fail. Every human project assumes it will fail at first. So we planned for it, learned from it, and improve. Your Empire's problem was that you only planned for victory." In the days that followed, the Empire sent an urgent warning to all spacefaring species in the galaxy. Imperial emergency BRODCST. Priority. Highest. Subjugacity. Humanity. Extinction. Levial threat. Let it be known that the species known as humans from the planet Earth are hereby classified as an extinction-level threat to all Imperial interests. Their capabilities include unprecedented technological adaptation, unpredictable combat tactics, rapid learning and improvement, psychological warfare expertise, resource efficiency beyond Imperial standards. All Imperial forces are ordered to avoid human space at all costs. Report any human activity immediately. Do not engage under any circumstances. Retreat if humans show aggressive intent. The cost of ignoring this warning cannot be overstated. The Empire's defeat stands as testament to humanity's danger level. As the Empire retreated to lick its wounds, Earth began a new chapter. Human ships now patrolled their expanded territory, their hybrid technology advancing further every day. The client species that chose independence looked to Earth for protection and guidance. Dr. Wilson continued her work on Project Phoenix, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. "The Empire taught us how to reach the stars," she said during a press conference. "We taught ourselves how to master them." In the final meeting of Earth's War Council, Thompson addressed his team one last time. "The Empire thought they were invincible because they'd never lost. We were invincible because we lost countless times and kept going. That's humanity's real strength. Not that we're stronger or smarter, but that we never stop learning, never stop improving." Years later, Imperial scholars would study the human war as their greatest failure. But they never fully understood what really happened. They saw the technological advances, the tactical innovations, the strategic brilliance, but they missed the simple truth that every human child knew. The best stories are about underdogs who win not because they're special, but because they simply refuse to give up. And humanity, it turned out, had been practicing that story for its entire history.